So I'm joined by Brian Cole, who is a Pardot lead architect with a bit of a twist. So I've really been looking forward to this because Brian is an extraordinary person. He's a Brit, but he went Scandinavian and currently lives in Denmark with his family. And why don't you just say hi, Brian?
Hello, it's me. I'm Brian. I'm a real person.
The elusive Brian Coles.
Yes.
Well, I first met Brian actually when you offered to speak for the London Marketers user group, the Pardot user group, earlier this year. And if it's okay with you, I'm going to actually read the blurb of your talk because I just thought it was wonderful and it kind of sets the scene for what we're going to be talking about today.
Go for it. Mm-hmm.
So his talk was titled How to Become a Marketing Trailblazer. Brian Coles, marketing automation architect and longtime marketing trailblazer, shares his story on sharing his story. Hear about how Brian's success all started with sharing his experiences around the trailblazer community. He's seen, quote, some weird stuff out there, his world travels, and even weirder stuff in organizations.
Oh, yes.
Having managed more than 3,000 email marketing campaigns over a decade in his career, plus other lessons from your upcoming book, Your Marketing Automation Journey, Tales from the Real World. So that's a little bit on who you are, but I want to cut to the chase, actually. So I thought it was remarkable, actually, that we both share two passions in common, which are marketing automation and travel. Mm-hmm. I'm actually really envious that you've basically managed to combine the two. So, why don't you start telling us about your travels?
Thank you. Really very nice introduction, Lucy. It's really lovely to be here. It's lovely to see you. It's lovely to have some time with you. I mean, you're so busy with the blog and all the other good work you do for us, right? So it's very kind to have to have this time with you. Lovely introduction. I mean, it's me, right? I mean, I'm Brian Coles. I'm a guy that's travelled a lot around the planet on a motorbike. In parts of my life, I've just said, right, I'm out here. Basically, I've had a career that started some decades ago now, I guess, and during that time when I've been working, I've just taken off, dropped everything, and gone and travelled with a motorbike. Around the planet. The first trip I went from Alaska to Argentina. I took a year out. That was by myself.
What?
Yeah, just by myself, year out. The Americas. Always been a big dream, right?
Actually, on a motorbike.
On a motorbike, yeah. You can do it. You can do it all the way down, right? There's only one bit you can't cross. It's called the Darien Gap, and it's the bit which takes you to Panama from the north. So you can't go through the Darien Gap, this bit of land, and it's only about 100 miles, but you can't go through it on a motor. You can't travel through it because it's full of basically drug barons and bad people. So you have to you have to fly over it. Just this tiny bit of land. It's crazy. So I did. So
you had to get your motorbike across then.
Yeah, I had to put it on the plane and go with the bike, and then just go over that 100 kilometers. It's crazy. It's so crazy that there's a part of the world that the governments can't control.
Wow,
that's a crazy
really lawless then.
Yeah, but so did that trip by myself. I met my wife on that trip. Then for about 2 hours I met her, and then she's like, "I've got to go," and I'm like, "What do you mean you got to go? We just started talking." She had booked a ticket, and I didn't hear from her for a while, and the reason for that was because I took her email address down in a book, and then my book, which was in the rucksack, was robbed that night.
No.
So I thought, I'm never going to see her again. This wonderful woman that I was talking to for 2 hours, and I could have had a potential future life with, because I said to her, "Look, I will email you," and I didn't. And then I got an email from her one day, and I said, "How'd you get my email address? That's crazy. I never gave it to you." What she did is that she went around saying, "Have you met this English guy on a motorbike in every hostel she stayed in?" And eventually she did. She met a Swede that had my email address. So it was meant to happen. It was also really
fate brought you together.
It's all fate, right? And I'm a big believer in fate these days, I have to say. But yes, I did that, and then I did another trip after we got together. After that trip, we got together, me and my wife. It's a long distance stint between Denmark and England, and then we did another trip from London to India on the motorbike. So we took a year out doing that, and then we've just done another big trip with a family that we made around the planet for 1 year as well. So that was last year.
Amazing. Very envious.
Yes, man. You can do it. You've got ages. You've got ages.
I did have one stint out of work. I called it a mini retirement, but that was because I was just itching to travel. But
Yes.
that was a stint around South America. But yeah, maybe I'll have a midlife crisis, quarter-life crisis.
Do it. But there's a lot.
We'll see.
Yeah, there's a lot out there, and it's important to get out there and not just live in this bubble. We live in a bubble.
I agree. And yes, I think that's one of the things that I was going to come to later. But let's just maybe switch it up and talk about marketing. So how long have you been working like as a marketer, and perhaps some of your adventures in marketing?
It's about a decade now, I think. It's about a decade, yeah. And it's so I've worked in various organizations, most of them in Denmark actually, because I came here about 13 years ago, and before that I was working in the tech side of the world, right? And sorry, can you hear that noise going on my machine?
What is that?
Nothing. Can you hear that noise?
Yep.
You can. That's my son. I've got a remote keyboard over there in my study. 1 second. So what happened is that I came here about 15 years ago, 14 years ago now, I think, and started working in a technical company selling software as an Oracle database administrator. So I've been working with data structures for a very long time. And then I had an opportunity to work in marketing. And that's where I found my real calling, because I could use my old knowledge around data and data structures and how important data is. And all of a sudden I unleashed this kind of hidden creativity gene that I never knew that I had working in marketing. And then started looking at content optimization, all this sort of stuff, right? And I read a lot of books on marketing.
Well, I definitely see you as a marketer and not someone that's just a database guy, right? That's really interesting, though. Do you think that your travels helped you or enhanced your marketing skills?
Yeah, I really think they have, and I would urge lots of people to do it, to go traveling for a long period of time. But they really have, because you get so much out of you become so confident, and it's like you kind of grow roots out of your feet when you travel, because you have to stand on, you have to be confident when you travel, right? You get challenged in so many ways that you never get challenged, especially if you do solo travel.
Yes.
Solo travel is amazing, right? Because all of a sudden you're out there in the world by yourself, and you've got no support around you. Your friends aren't around you. Your parents aren't around you all of a sudden, or your family, right? And you've got no one to rely on. You've got to be completely independent, and also people view you, of course, in a different way. So you've got to prove yourself to people. You've got to, so basically you become more confident as a person, more rooted, I would say, as a person when you travel. And of course, when you go into organizations, they want people that are grounded and rooted, and not kind of, all over the shop, right? And that's a very important thing these days, to be grounded, to be confident, right? And I don't know, just know who you are.
Yeah. I was just, I wrote down 3 words when you were speaking then, because I think it tags on quite nicely to what you were saying. I guess people that are realistic, that have a realistic point of view, that aren't all happy ears, or I guess traveling as well, it gives you a realistic point of view. You're not, the assumptions that you have, those are often broken because something happens and everything you assumed is wrong. And maybe also, as you were saying, just being the visibility of solo travel, you know, like you are putting yourself on the line as you do in marketing as well. It's a bit of experimentation sometimes,
Yeah,
having
yeah,
the confidence to do that. Yeah. No, that's
exactly.
really interesting. I never really thought about how travel and travel experiences and experiences of different places could attribute to a better all-round marketer. So that's great.
Without question, right? And without question,
Yeah.
it's wonderful experience to have. And I've grown every time I've travelled. I'm sure it's the same with you. Every time you travel and you come back home, especially if it's a long, I've done it so many times. You come back and it's like nothing's changed, but something has changed. And of course, what has changed is you've changed,
Mm.
right? The core of you has shifted a little bit, and you come back and it's like things feel differently here, but everyone's the same and everything's the same. And of course, you've changed. You grow when you travel,
Mm.
and
Definitely.
you realize everyone's the same, right?
Mm.
Just because you're from another country doesn't mean to say that you have got three eyes and six toes. You're exactly the same as me. You've got the same fears, the same dreams, exactly the same all over the world. And I think the problem with the media these days is that they would have you believe differently. Um,
Yeah.
the man on the street in Pakistan is no different to the man on the street in America or Spain, right? They're exactly the same.
Yeah.
But the media would have us believe differently. And that's a great thing to have as a marketer, especially if you work in an international company, because everyone's
Definitely.
friends, no matter what company they're from, right? Country they're from, they're all your friends.
Yeah. It's almost like if you were a marketer in an international company covering multiple regions, um, although you do have to localize a lot of things, at the same time, people still have the driving like motivations and factors that
Exactly.
you carry across. So yeah, very
Exactly.
good advice.
Lucy. Yeah.
But what's the best bit of marketing advice you've had generally just throughout your decade-long career?
Oh, best bit of marketing advice. Actually, it probably isn't anything to do with marketing. it's, it's probably more just around how to be a good marketer. I think we think because when you think marketing, you think creative sometimes or something or something in that. And I think that you first of all it's very boring. You've just got to be a grade A listener.
Mhm.
Because as marketers, we've got something to prove actually in terms of we got to up our game. We've got to elevate our marketing image in most organizations, because they see us as basically people that make brochures. In many companies, we still feel as that's the brochure making department or something, right? So we've got to be good listeners, because then we've got to be able to talk to people that basically have got the money in organizations, so we can say to them, look, marketing is going to rock your world. Marketing is the new black, and these are the reasons why. But we need to listen to these people first to understand
Mm.
what their perception of marketing is, and we just got to be great listeners so we can kind of play things back to people. Because if you think about it, many people at the C level, they have a perception of marketing which is quite out of date. Maybe it's something they learned in their MBA 20 years ago. I don't know, but it's our job as marketers to bring people up to date as to what marketing can do for the organization. And we would say this, of course, but I believe it's the most important part of an organization today, especially right now, right? So I would say as a marketer, you've got to have grade A listening skills and the ability to sell internally.
Yeah.
Sell marketing internally. We need more resources. The high performing organizations today put a lot of money into marketing and sales, a lot of
Mm.
money and a lot of effort. So we've got to help people understand what marketing's about.
Yeah. Very true. Very
Right.
true. And I guess, that's something you're, as a consultant, you're
Yeah.
on the front line almost of that, trying
Mm.
to
To convince
state marketing's importance, and difficult stakeholders. And I guess at an architect level as well, that gets even more important,
yeah,
because
it
it's
is.
a big investment.
Yeah, because they're not interested in email click rates at the end of the day. They're interested in money coming through the door. So we've got to be able to, of course, tie it back. And you do such a great example in your blogs of whenever you talk about reporting and stuff, you tie it back to opportunities, right? And of course, we've got to be able to do that. We've got to say, well, here's all this marketing stuff that we've been doing, and here's all the opportunities that can be attributed to it. And really, with products like Pardot, which we love, we've not really been able to do that for a very long time easily anyway. I would say it only really started to happen last year, that we can bring these stories to the C-level, to say all the stuff you've spent money on in marketing is creating all this business. Without having to go into a million spreadsheets, So it's
true.
Yeah. So it's thanks to your blog that people know how to do this now. I would say you break it down very well.
Thank you. Well, we were saying earlier, weren't we, that even though all this new tech comes out, these new features, sometimes it is going back to basics and just ensuring that everyone is up to speed in order to get up to these new features, these the shiny ones, the most innovative ones, flagship ones. Yeah,
exactly.
So I guess just to summarize then, what are the top skills you need as a marketer? So you said listening.
Listening and the ability to sell marketing internally. Right, you've actually got to be a bit of a salesperson, because you've got to have some good. So you've got to have some good convincing skills, some good stakeholder management skills. I guess people call that, but I think it's a bit more than that. Because you can manage stakeholders, you can manage people, you can inform them, but it's not going to work unless you can sell. And I think that's a tough call for a lot of people, especially if you're going up against some senior executives in your organization. Typically, if you're a marketing automation person, there's a few levels between you and the C-suite, right? So we've got to sell it into people that will hopefully sell it above, and beyond. So, and you've got to, I'd say you've actually got to be I'd say you've got to be a creative and a data person. These two things as well, right? Certainly in
that balance.
Right, and so you've got to be the artist and the scientist, I would say, and of course people are at different levels there, but we've got to use data to get the relevant marketing to people. The creative side.
With so much now actually at our fingertips, so just need to make sure it's all aggregated in the correct way and related correctly. Exactly. Just when you were talking about stakeholder management and how you may have to sell marketing as a business unit and the concepts and the value of marketing to people that may be I guess different. They may have different perceptions of marketing, come from a different reality within the organization. It's a bit like traveling then, isn't it? And meeting other people and finding a common ground, understanding why they feel that certain way, understanding the rationale behind reactions. Another good comparison.
That's right, and it's great you mentioned that, because also we hear it a lot, don't we, in the marketing world, that we've got to have empathy for people when they come to our assets. We've got to build empathy into our marketing, and that's not a very business-like word, empathy, right? So in the organisations that I've worked for, when I started talking about empathy and being more understanding, I get laughed out of the room a lot of the time, because it's not a business word as such, but we have to have empathy, right? We have to know where this person is on their journey, and we can only do that with collecting the right data on people at different points.
Well, Brian, I think you can leave behind a legacy to quantify empathy. You can, as an architect, as a part of architect, marketing data architect, you could try make some metric to measure empathy.
It's good.
Finally, intent data is around, so I'll leave that one with you.
All right.
I'll check back in a couple of years. So why did you want to write a book about marketing automation? You've got your book coming out at some point this year. So why did you want to write it, and what makes this book different from the other books?
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to plug it. That's very kind of you.
I'm curious as well. I've read
So,
many a marketing book, so.
yeah. Well, that's actually one of the reasons why I wanted to write this book, because like yourself, I've read quite a few, right? It's good to keep up with the people in the world, the experts and gurus. In reading a lot of these books and just reading sort of books, any kind of business book in general, I kind of get a little bit, oh God, is this how it's going to go? Do you know what I mean? I'm not often inspired by books, business books, right? Because they can be quite dry. Some of them are getting better, but I just wanted to write a book which both entertained and gave people a feeling of discovery. Because that power of discovery, that power of being able to mix educating someone with the power of discovery in particular, I think is a very powerful thing. But overall, it's got to be educating. Because what happens, here's what happens. I mean, with my kids, for example, when I try and teach them something, I don't directly tell them what to do. I kind of let them discover the answer, or let them go on a journey of discovery. Because when you discover something, you own it. That becomes yours. In your mind. It's your discovery, mine, me, and it just goes in deeper. And I'm amazed people aren't talking about this and haven't used this as a marketing method. The fact that the happy accident, the serendipitous moment of discovering something, because it's damn powerful, right? Because when like I say, when you discover it, you can tell it to someone, look, I made this discovery. I've just found this out, and this is really good.
So almost like what you're saying, as a marketer, it's our responsibility to plant the seed.
Yeah, basically,
for people to
discover. And I've got to ask you, can you hear my kids screaming in the background?
A little bit, yes.
Because they are.
Just sounds like a gaggle of birds or something.
Yeah. It's really, yeah. If it gets too cold,
I would.
Not.
No worries.
I've got a trampoline outside, and they're just bouncing up and down. It's the world's best toy.
Yeah.
Trampolines.
Yeah, you said that you had double the number of kids in the house today.
There's 6 kids out there behind me. Yeah. So yeah.
Work-life balance.
Yes, yeah, my kids. But so yeah. So I think so. It's for me, the reason for writing the book was twofold. It was kind of, I've done lots of journeys on a motorbike and had lots of interesting stories there on that bike and on meeting people, and then been doing marketing for a while, and it's all about people. It's only about people marketing, right? At the end of the day. So I've put the two kind of books, because I wanted to write 2 books together, and so what you have is a book that starts with some hopefully entertaining stories, or a story which then links into a marketing theme, and hopefully people will kind of understand the synergy that I'm trying to make, and it's something about people. And there's a few crazy stories about organizations and the stuff that I've seen there, and things that just have to stop, organizations. So yeah, hopefully it's going to be entertaining.
Like I said, I'm very envious that you almost beat me to it and managed to combine your 2 passions into one. I just always thought those 2 passions would live separate from each other, but why not? Like, this whole conversation has been about how marketing and marketing automation how travel can inform, and not just travel, I guess, but other experiences, wider experiences. It doesn't have to be in other countries. Informs marketing automation.
Exactly. And it's great. I mean, it's you gotta have you gotta have a book it's got to be entertaining. And I haven't read a business book yet. Maybe you have. Tell me if you have, where you've picked it up and it's like, I can't put this down. This is amazing. I want a book like that, and
well, yeah, I agree. And that there has been a couple of books like that, but they've been based around a narrative, around a story, and very riveting. So I expect the same yours as well.
hopefully we'll see. I'll send you a copy.
Oh, well, you just said it's based around a story. So yeah.
Or story.
Well, that's great. So I have another question, which
these are good questions.
People might people might recognize this one from another source, but it's called the billboard question. So If you could write one thing on a billboard,
Mm.
to broadcast a message to thousands of people, what would that be? It could be a message for professionals inside the Salesforce ecosystem or inside the marketing realm space, or just the general public.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? That's a very good question, because I actually talk about this. I think I devote a chapter to this in the book, or at least there's a little bit in there in this book actually about it. But I saw a poster in New Zealand and it stuck with me. I lived in New Zealand 20 something years ago for a couple of years, and I saw it, and you know, the Kiwis are just great. We love them. They're brilliant people. And this was a poster, right, from their government on the billboard, and it said, and so this is what I would write: even if you win the rat race, you're still a rat, right? Even if you go for it, even if you really go for it and spend all of your life, you know, trying to beat everyone else and be the best at what you're doing, you know, sacrifice people along the way and all the rest of it, you're still a rat. So even if you're going for that, you're still just a rat. You're part of this system which you're actually just a sheep, really. You're just doing something that everyone else has done for decades in front of you. You've gone into the game and you've been played by the game, right? Essentially, right? You've been played by the game. You've fallen into a bit of a trap, and I think a lot of us do this. And I did this for years when I was working in London as a consultant. I kind of bought into this lifestyle that I thought would make me happy, and it didn't. It just made me unhappy. So at the end of the day, so yeah, that would be my that'd be what I'd like. And then I saw.
I mean, I completely agree with you.
Right. And then I saw it. I've got to say that then I remember when I was working at Xerox many years ago, and on someone's computer screen they had, you know, those little things you can type out messages on, and it comes out on the strip and you put it on the screen. I don't know what you call it.
Yeah, the label makers.
The label makers.
Dymo.
That's it, Dymo. Right, exactly. Yeah. You got the brand.
I was about to say Dynamo, which is the magician, right? Not that.
Someone typed this out. They must have been a bit Fruit Loops, but they typed it out, but it made sense. And they typed this long thing out and they put it at the top of their screen, obviously because they wanted to remind themselves of this. But what it said is, just before someone has a nervous breakdown, they believe they're saving the world, right? And what would happen to him or someone close to him was that they just work themselves into such a crazy fit. They believed at the end of it that they were doing such an important job. They had to get done. They had to sacrifice everything. So you know, they got too into it, right? They got too into it. Oh, another one. Just remember, the best.
You've just got a highway of billboards now. No, go for it. You've got another billboard.
Another billboard. The best thing any manager ever said to me, right? It was 2 jobs ago. She said, give B+ service. Give B+ service. Do you know what I mean by that? So don't try and give A++ service to everyone you deal with. You can't. You'll kill yourself. Give B+ service. B+ service, you know, giving a B+ in what you do is actually pretty good, right?
So you mean a B+ as in a grading system?
Yeah, as in kind of what you do. So you know, if someone if someone writes you an email, don't answer it immediately with the best answer you can. Just wait for a little bit, right, until it suits you, and then don't go nuts trying to give them an A+ essay in it. Just give them a B+. Just do the best you can for the moment that you're in. Don't go all out. Don't try and give everyone and everything you do the best you can. You just simply can't. You simply can't do it. It's difficult.
That's normally the start of burnout as well. Just feeling like you can't continually keep to unrealistic standards.
That's exactly it. And this is obviously what happened to this guy, and that's why he had to remind himself. You know.
Wow. Yeah.
Don't try and save the world, because when you're into something and you've got pressure on your back, you feel that, oh God, if I don't do this, I'm going to die, or the world will explode or something, right? When really people really get too into it. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, I suppose like it is way too easy to get sucked into things, and we're just lucky, I suppose, working in an industry like Salesforce where balance and well-being is talked about and is respected. And I think Salesforce themselves set a very good example, and I'm sure other partners like the one you work for, 4C, I'm sure they also advocate things like that.
Yes, yeah,
which is good.
absolutely,
Yeah.
certainly do. Have you got any that come into your mind? Billboards?
Oh no.
No.
I would have to think about it because, you know, a billboard's only a few words, so the
Yeah.
words are important.
Yeah.
I probably do have a few up my sleeve, but they're probably written down somewhere on
I'll ask you the same
my
question.
notepad.
I'd like to do another gig, and I'll interview you next time.
Right. Okay. I'll be prepared for that. No, like, you know, I read a lot, so I pick up a lot of quotes here and there, but, you know, choosing my favorite would probably be quite hard. So I'll probably have to have several billboards like you. Well, this has been really great. And actually, you know, just working from home and just doing the same thing over and over again, day in, day out, this has been like a real mood boost. So yeah, thank you for spending the time, and I'm sure everyone else is would say thank you as well that's listening in. So to finish off then, where can people find out more about you?
Yeah, well, I made a little site for the book. Obviously, I'd love people to connect on LinkedIn. Look at Brian Coles. I work at a company called 4C, but I made a little website for the book called it's just called brian-coles.com, and that's probably the and please fill out the form there. I've got a tiny little form. Please fill out the form because I'll keep you posted on the book and how it's doing and where you can get it and a discount if you sign up and all the rest of it. So yeah, so brian-coles.com.
Yeah, and we'll link that in the show notes as well.
No, that'd be great. That'd be wonderful.
Yeah. Well, I think that's all that needs to be said for now, I think.
That's a wrap.
Yeah, so thanks again. And until next time, Brian, take care.
Thank you very much, Lucy. Look after yourself. And hi, everyone out there. See ya.